It's a performance filled with deep emotion, involving writing, rhyme, alliteration, metaphors, and in many cases, audience participation. On this episode of the Supercast, find out why so many students are using slam poetry to express themselves and the way they look at life. Poetry slams are a big hit right now, and we head to South Jordan Middle School to find out why.
My name is Jackson Miller, and my poem is called Middle School. Driving in traffic, the obnoxious babbling and blaring of car horns. Angry, agitated, and aggravated, the light remains red. Struggling to find those who feel similar. The light will turn green anytime now. I'll be home. Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your poem.
Well, I thought a lot about it, and I decided to do it on middle school because it's middle school. I have a lot of feelings about middle school, so I figured it'd be the easiest just to write it about that. And I got some help from Mr. Bainey. I got some help from some teachers. But it's about kind of the struggle of being in middle school and how it can be hard to function with everything happening and drama and emotions and our bodies changing, and sometimes you just feel like you're kind of stuck in place and you can't really go anywhere. But at the end I kind of tried wrapping it up, saying I'm almost out of middle school. I'll be in high school soon, but yeah.
And how does it feel to look at the page and see that with some help you've been able to put those feelings into words?
It feels amazing. It feels great. And I'm so glad I got to do this. And I'm going to continue doing poetry and improve. So.
That's great to hear. Are you looking forward to high school?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And you'll be at Bingham next year?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, best of luck and keep that poetry flowing.
Thank you.
Great job.
This is Just Kids by myself, Emily Johnson. Okay. The warm ocean breeze brushes against my arms and knees like getting stung by 1,000 bees. But bee stings feel like smiles and happy trees. The trees quake and seem to say, "Stay with me and dream." As bright-eyed kids, we sit under these stars that gleam, wondering, why can't we just stay out here and blow off a little more steam? But the alarm, she rings, a little different this time than the original bee stings, signaling that the school bell still dings and dings and dings. A constant goal of one day receiving a wage. You're just kids. Stop thinking about that at this age. But no, go pick out a career that determines every last page. We get burnt out and caught up as to cry, trying to explain to these authority figures that we really do try, but these feelings sit in our consciousness like a little white lie. We come home and do our work as if put under a spell or potion, then lay in bed longing for sounds of the ocean, not so ready to wake up in the morning and go through the exact same motion.
Emily, tell me about the poem that you recited today.
Well, I wrote a poem called Just Kids, and it's about the pressures of being a young student and having so much pressure to be older than you are and grow up so fast.
I thought it had a really nice cadence and flow to it. Is there a favorite phrase or favorite imagery in that poem?
Well, I really like the bee stinging part, bee stings, because when I was younger I got stung by a lot of bees, so it's kind of cadence to that, and it's throw back to my childhood, and it can be a good thing too, because bee stings, smiles, it can feel so many things, so I really liked using that phrase. Yeah.
And you were able to really evoke the sound of a bell ringing and kind of the day going on and on and on. What was the phrase you used exactly?
Ding. The school bell still dings and dings and dings.
And the way you paused when you recited it and all of that, it just you did a very nice job on that. What does poetry mean to you, reading it and creating it?
Well, I kind of created it. I was having a really hard time with school, and I was just not doing well mentally, and it was like 2 a.m., and I was like, there's a poetry thing coming up. I should write something. So it like really was just raw emotion that I just put on paper. It was a lot of feeling. Yeah.
It's obvious that it really came from a place of personal experience. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Stay with us. When we come back, we'll talk with one of the judges. She'll tell us what makes a Poetry Slam performance rise above the rest.
It is one of the most prestigious academic achievement programs available for high school students, and we're proud to say it's coming back to Jordan School District. We're talking about the International Baccalaureate IB program, which will be located at West Jordan High School. The IB program supports personal and academic achievement for students at the very highest level. IB diploma courses take place during a student's junior and senior year in high school. All sophomores are invited to consider the IB program for next year. There are no prerequisites for IB, and interested middle school students can start preparing now. Students with the IB diploma have a better chance at getting into some of the most prestigious universities in the world. For more information or to find out if your teen is a good candidate for IB, visit ib.jordandistrict.org or call West Jordan High School.
We're here at South Jordan Middle School talking with Cindy Mitchell, the librarian here, and also the person in charge of the Poetry Out Loud competition. Tell us a little bit about that.
So Poetry Out Loud originally is a national competition for performance poetry, where you memorize an official poem from their collection and then compete based on your interpretation and recitation of the poem. Here at South Jordan Middle, however, we are focused on original poetry performance. So most of the students that entered have written their own poems, and then we've given them a forum. So it's a little poetry slam without all the interaction from the audience and a little bit of poetry out loud.
How do students sign up to participate?
This was totally at their own discretion. They just came by and filled out a slip, and if they could fit in, so what we did was we had 3 weeks of competition. So each week for the first 3 rounds, we had new poems each of those weeks, and we choose the top 3 from each week to perform today. So we had 9 original poets perform, and we didn't have as many performance poets, so we only had 5 performance poems today.
And how long has this been going on at South Jordan?
This is our first year.
Okay.
And it's going to be more after this. I really enjoyed it. I have to tell you, I've been playing with this idea for about 4 years or so. And this year, since it was such a different year, I decided I'm going to do it. We need something for kids who want to perform. And I like April as National Poetry Month. I couldn't put my magnetic poetry on my wall. I have a gigantic blank wall in the library, and I had magnetic, quote unquote, poetry ready to go on that wall, and I couldn't do that. So I'm like, I'm just going to dive in. We're going to do poetry out loud.
Well, I think it's exciting for students to have the chance to do this, and one of the great skills we try to teach students is self-expression and being thoughtful and introspective about how they're feeling and how to express that, and poetry does a great job of doing that.
And I think if you get a chance to listen to some of the poems, that you'll see that they basically come from a very personal space, and that the kids are talking about what is important to them right now. And that's what I loved about it. I don't think that these students are just good for middle school poets. I think it was good poetry.
I would agree. Great stuff from the heart, and definitely reflective of their experience right now.
Yeah.
Lots of these kids were really passionate about the poems that they performed. How did that make you feel?
So, yeah, as the librarian, I don't interact with them necessarily on a daily basis, like in the classroom, and especially not as their language arts teacher. So for me to know that they're willing to come and be so open and raw in this situation was really important for me, because I think that means that they also trust me. And that's not necessarily something that I know most of the time. So I really appreciated them being willing to come and share. And it helps me remember that middle school kids at any age have deep feelings, and we need to respect those feelings.
Well, congrats on putting together a great event that allows students to express themselves and keeps poetry moving forward into the next generation.
Well, thank you, and thank you for coming. We appreciated you coming and sharing a poem with us, too.
Thank you. We're here with Brenda Johnson at South Jordan Middle School, who has taught a number of the students that she and I just were able to judge in the Poetry Out Loud competition.
Yes, I have, indeed.
And you taught them creative writing in 7th grade, some of them.
Yes, I took on the creative writing for a year, and I got to teach a lot of the kids that performed today.
Tell me what it feels like to have taught them a year or two ago and now get to see them perform their poems.
A lot goes into my feelings watching this, because when they were in 7th, they were just little kids. They were just tiny. And to see them develop and be passionate throughout the year that I had them and develop a lot of skills that they get to perform 2 years later, it's validating in a lot of ways for them. More than anything, to see that their efforts a couple of years ago came through somewhere else, and they were able to get some credit and some performance skills to reflect the things that they were writing when they were younger.
I was impressed that they were able to perform poems that they'd written themselves in front of peers with such confidence. That's not an easy thing to do.
It isn't, but I think that as they have developed through the writing process and having opportunities to perform their emotions, and I think that a lot of the COVID consequences are playing out with them. They're soulful, they're thoughtful, and they are definitely expressing themselves in ways that I've never seen before. So to have an avenue to voice their thoughts and voice their feelings and get through kind of some of their angsts, I think it's kind of a wonderful thing for them.
I think it's a good self-care skill just to be thoughtful about how you're feeling and trying to find a way to express that and articulate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that poetry is it's almost a forgotten part of our language. Yeah. And to see it still come alive in these kids and have them be so passionate about it and to perform it for the first time ever, because they've never done those kind of things. Right. It's kind of fun. It really is. It's beautiful, really.
It is. It's rewarding, and I got goosebumps more than once, I have to admit.
Me
it was
too.
Really cool.
Me too.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Supercast. Remember, education is the most important thing you'll do today. We'll see you out there.